Yeah. Bro code.
Bro code, we in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. We in that mode, you know if we got a problem, we pull up in that JFF, fall on my bros. Collective like the colors in the rainbow. All of that talking you did on the net, we know that you only did it for a post. If I pull up then I get in the check, I need me like 500K for a show, or maybe more. And I got all of the stars in the ceiling cause we in a row. Yeah, just for the bros, brothers forever, so you know we got each other back. We aiming for gold, sticking together, careless about the weather, we never slack. Gotta stick to the code. Bro code, we in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own. Take off, we gone. Diamonds two-tone. This is our throne.
Welcome.
Yep.
Social media family, IG, Facebook, YouTube, to another epic episode of
Bro Code.
We back in the lab again one more time.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
finna
sir.
have this great discussion.
Yep.
As we normally do. So today's topic is one that is definitely a popular topic, one that is definitely prominent in these days. And the topic is blended families. So for those of you who don't know, the unofficial definition is basically when you have stepmom or dad, stepkids, making one family, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna give the official definition,
Okay.
right? I come with stats. Notes. Blended family. A family consisting of a couple and their children from this and all previous relationships. So it could be kids that they've had with that person or kids that they've had from previous relationships or people that they have brought together to make one family.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't come from a blended family, but some people do. I think you did. You
I
come
did,
from
yeah.
So Alan came from one. No, you didn't come from one. What about you, Rico?
No, I didn't come from one, but I have one.
Okay. So that is, we don't even need guests this time because we got two experts on the panel. Right. So we're gonna be, we're gonna be asking questions and we're gonna be looking at y'all. Right?
Yeah, we gotta be sure that it's not only, from our perspective, parents' perspective, but I guess we're gonna have to try to talk about how the kids are like the kids themselves, right? Because you said that it could be kids coming from the mom side.
Or
and
the
some more
dad
kids
side.
from the dad side,
Right.
or both, right?
Right.
So now these kids have to learn how to live together,
Coexist.
right?
Yes.
So now I got a brother that I gotta live with, right?
And
Or
I gotta
got a
get to
sister
know.
I gotta get to know,
Yeah.
right? Gotta get along with, not
Right.
fighting and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we're gonna have to try to speak on like kind of what the kids potentially will be
Yeah.
feeling during that time.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add to that, for me being experienced in the blended family realm, so I'll start with where I come from, right? So
Right.
my mom and dad, my mom and my biological father, they divorced when I was young. I was like 4 or 5, right? That's how we ended up in South Georgia. But my mom, she remarried to the man who raised me.
Right.
And I could easily have called him my stepfather. He could have easily called me, his stepson,
Yeah.
right? But we never used the word step. That was my dad. I was his son, and that's how we did it. So I say that to say, and then fast forward, being married, I married a woman that had a child, and I never considered that child my stepchild, right? And she never looked at me as stepdad.
So in your situation with you growing up, so that was your stepdad, you said?
My stepdad. Well, that was my dad.
Yeah.
The man who raised me.
Yeah.
Stepdad technically, but
Yeah.
he
So
didn't see
was your dad in the picture?
He was not in the picture.
Okay, so that's a big differentiator, I think.
Okay. A differentiator of what?
of, you know, kind of, I guess, how people will feel, right? Like if your dad was still, even though he wasn't with your mom, but he was heavily in the picture, you know, it may be a little bit different versus where he's not there. Right? Because that dad, even though you're in his house, he knows that you have your biological father right there and he's active. Not, you know what I mean? It'd be different if he's not active.
And that's active. A good point, Rico, because early on when I asked my ex-wife to marry me, the daughter was so excited, right? So she was ready to call me dad. Now, her dad was in her life. I mean, we were living in Gwinnett County. He lived in Gwinnett County, right? So he was there. You know, he had custody of her every other weekend. But she was so ready. And she's like she was 4 years old at the time. And she was ready to call me dad.
Maybe it was something she saw in you. Or how you know what I mean? How she was perceiving you, right?
Right. But I automatically put myself in the shoes of her actual father, right? Like, how would that make him feel? And I know that was tough on him, right? I know that was tough on him because, like, okay, this man, my ex is remarried, but my daughter's calling him dad. You know, I can only imagine how that would make me feel as a man.
Yeah. Did you talk to him?
Yeah, I had conversations. We had no issues. His parents and I had no issues.
That's good.
And I let them know, and that was part of the conversation for me to say, hey, yes, I'm marrying my ex-wife. Well, now it's my ex-wife. I'm marrying her, but when it comes to your daughter, she's going to always know that you're her father. I'm not here to replace you, you know, but I am here to love and protect your daughter because she's going to be in my household. So I had that conversation off rip, and I think it's important.
So should every man have that conversation?
Yes.
Why you say that?
So wait, so see, I knew this was finna be a good one. So hold on. We got to establish that how we going. So before we get too deep into it, it was a couple of things that came up in my mind that I wanted answers to, right? Some questions that I had, right? So we're gonna talk about what is the role of step parents in the lives of the stepchildren. Are there boundaries when it comes to stepchildren? Does the relationship continue if the marriage doesn't?
Okay.
That's a good one. Can I throw something, add something in there?
Hold on, we got one more.
Okay.
Of course, we're gonna talk about child support and the factor that it plays, right? And then how do you handle the situation if the marriage ends and the biological parent negatively influences the relationship between the ex-step parent and the step kid?
And kind of just throw, and also, do we think that if the parent, the real parents, are either gone for some reason or whatever, should the step parent take a different approach of raising that child, like being, you know, like in your scenario, you saying, hey, I'm gonna tell you, hey, I'm not trying to replace your dad or anything like that. But if he wasn't around at all, like gone, nobody knows where he is, are you really replacing him at that point?
Well, technically, I did replace him because, you know, I mean, to be honest, it was a replacement because I was the one taking care of her.
Right.
You know, so, but I didn't want to come off like.
But he's there, right? But if he's completely not there, then it's almost like where you're at a point to where if he can't be found, you can adopt that child. If you truly want them to be yours, right?
Yes.
So go ahead. I don't want to.
No. That's a good because that was another one that another. So let's get into it.
Yeah, you about to hit some good content. Right. So you're going to have to break this down.
Okay, so let's get into it. So the first point.
Yeah.
What is the role of step parents in the lives of stepchildren? Right? And I heard you say that your relationship with your step parent, it wasn't step, it was this is my parent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So I will use step parent for this show. I will.
Okay.
So my role as the step parent was to love that child unconditionally.
Right.
My role was to love that child as if she was mine.
Right.
So, to me, it's just like having my own child, right? And I didn't have any kids when I got married, you know. So I came into it not knowing how to be a parent. I knew how to love unconditionally, and I thank the higher power for just given me the opportunity to have the heart to love unconditionally. But if you don't have unconditional love in your heart, then step parenting will be really, really tough.
Be way more than what you bargained for.
Yeah.
So coming into it, you didn't look at her any different than you would look at her as your own kid,
right?
And that's how you treated her.
That's how I treated her,
right?
Yep.
So what about you, Rico? I mean, we know you got. When you married your wife, she had a son already, and we've heard you say your son, you know, not your stepson, you know, your son.
Yeah.
So is that when you came into it with the same mindset because you already openly said like, hey, I saw her, I love her, I want to be with her, boom, whatever.
Yeah, and I 100% knew it was a package, right? So, you know, she already had a son. He was just about to turn 5 years old, right? So it was a package, right? And his dad was in the picture, right? You know, doing the child support thing and stuff like that. I do wish once we got together and it became a real relationship that his father would have come to me, because I said this before in other topics, right?
True.
That I think it's the responsibility of the actual father or mother to come and talk to that person who, you know what I'm saying, who's going to be taking care of their child on a daily basis, right? 100% respectful and all that kind of stuff, right? So I did miss that part, right? But, you know, there was never any drama or anything like that. And for me, I felt that, you know, that child, right, Christian, he's in my house, so I'm his protector, right? Because I'm over him every single day, right? He's in my house, right? So my job is to 100% do right by him, just like he's my child.
Right? Yes, unconditional.
Yeah,
exactly. So you hit a good point, and you probably would be able to touch on this. So he feels that it's the biological parent or father job to initiate the conversation. I think we touched on this before.
100% his duty, or her duty. We're not gonna leave him out of it.
Right.
It's the biological parent's duty to come and talk to the step. You know what I'm saying? To figure out how that child is going to be raised, if they have any objections, and if they'll, because like me, I would listen to what he has to say, right? Yeah. You know, if he say, hey, I want my son to do X, Y, Z, right? Okay, we can do that, right? Or if there's a reason why we can't, I can explain it to him why we can't, right? But the thing is that me right now, even today, right? You know, my Christian, he's a grown man, and he's 20 years old, right? But his father should have came. It's his job, 100%. Any man, woman, it's their job to come in and talk to that step parent, especially if they living in that kid's gonna be living in their house.
So let's say, okay, some men are built different, right?
Right.
So for some men, they're not gonna do that because of confrontation.
So thank you. Right. So let me jump in.
So for me, so I 100% because me and mine, we got to have a talk, boss.
Right.
And that's just me. But every man is not the same. Some men, they're going to look at, all right, my son is coming into your house, so as a man, you should come talk to me. That's how some men are going to look at it.
But the thing about it is that, I'm going to tell you, hold on for you, I know because you're going to get long-winded. I don't. So Ted, like in that,
he got something to say.
In that scenario, I don't need nothing from him.
But no, it's not a need, right?
Yeah.
It is kind of a need, an understanding.
Yeah, it's an understanding, but it's his job because the child, regardless of he can never say nothing to me. That child's still gonna be in my house under my roof.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm with Rico on that. That man, no matter what the conversation is, that man calls no shots under my roof.
No shots at all. Right.
And
so it behooves him to come and we get on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Because you can get all this bucking up and all this kind of stuff, but I can buck too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get violent, I can get violent. Right. So we can I'm just saying, like, so I want O to say something because I know he said he ain't gonna come say nothing to me, right? But your kid is in my house and you don't respectfully want to come and talk to me. So when I do something, don't say nothing, man.
And
don't say nothing.
So that's gonna go. That's definitely leading to the next point. So we're gonna let O get out what he got to say because we already on the next point.
Before you say this, I do want to. I want to throw in one qualifying factor in there. I would not have that conversation like I said I had if I wasn't looking for marriage. I was married. Now, if we're not talking marriage and if they're shacking up and all that, That you know what?
No, we're talking marriage.
No, we talking marriage. We talking marriage.
We talking husband, wife.
Yeah.
Blended family. We ain't talking about girlfriend.
Because for me, like, you know what I'm saying, if I'm dating a chick and she got kids and all that kind of stuff, if I'm bringing them kids into my house, then I'm getting married or something like that. I'm not just bringing you in, me sleeping with you and your kids in here running around and all that kind of stuff in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That ain't where it's going anyway.
Right.
The point I'm talking about is that I'm at the point to where we get married, right? The ring is on the whatever. Everything is planned out.
Boom.
She about, you know, it's official, right?
Right.
So now it's that parent's job, right? If they got something to say, respectfully, you come and talk to me, and I'm 100% open. Like, I want to talk to you.
So let me ask you this: what if they don't come, right? So the wife or ex-wife or whatever, knowing that the person that they are, what if she says, "Hey, babe, he's not gonna come talk to you. Why don't you initiate conversation?"
If she wanted me to do that, I would do that, right? But again, the thing is that I don't need that. I don't need him or her. I don't need him to come and say nothing to me, right?
You don't need their stamp of approval.
I don't need that stamp of approval. I got what I want.
Okay, so what you got, O? Because he said he got what he want.
And I stand on that.
2 feet? 10 toes?
10 toes.
What we got, O? Did we need to look in the camera?
First of all,
He gonna get there.
oh yeah, it's coming. First of all, I'm gonna have to. You're like a little brother to me, okay? But I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you on that, okay? For a couple of reasons. Number one, just because you get ready to marry her, you don't know the relationship he had, what those two had, okay? So she made
those two,
your soon-to-be wife and her significant other who she was with.
Or baby daddy.
But
this baby daddy.
But this right here is actually between me, you, and the kids.
No. Let me finish. So you don't know the relationship they had, okay? So everything she telling you, because if you're a true man, when you get with somebody before you even marry them, you're gonna be asking questions about what you did in the past with the last person. Okay, this is my baby dad. I'm raising this son. Okay, why the dad ain't here? Okay, you got her side of the story. Okay, you got her side of the story. Okay, so you going with her side of the story. Reason why I wouldn't basically come to you.
Never said that.
Well, listen, reason why I'm not gonna come to you as for number one, my kid is going in your house. That's number one.
My house.
But just because they in your house, don't mean that's your kid. It's still my kid. I was quiet.
I feel the same way.
I was quiet. I was quiet. Let you have the whole floor. Now let me have it. Okay, that's still my kid. Correct. Okay. So one thing I do, I'm gonna look at the camera and say this. One thing I do with any woman that's gonna be around my kids, or my baby mama, or whoever, the first thing I let them know, listen, whoever you marry, whoever you date, let them know that kid has a dad that's active. Okay, just be quiet and listen. Okay, that kid has a dad who's active. Okay, so number one, you ain't gotta like me. I ain't gotta like you. You ain't gotta have no conversation with me. Only thing I need to know is from her or from whatever the case may be, long as I can come get my kid without no conversation or whatever, I'm gonna take care of my kid. What a problem gonna come in at is when you overstep your boundaries.
What's my boundary?
Let me finish. When you overstep your boundaries to the point where, because let's keep it real. Some women, when they get married to somebody new, they all in love the first year or so or whatever, you all heads over here. So this man or this woman may do certain things to the kid, and the kid complain about it, but you so gone till you miss that. Yeah. Hold up, let's listen.
I wasn't even saying that.
So hold on. You going into the second point. So we talking about boundaries, right? Yeah. So we jumping into boundaries.
But hold on.
What are the boundaries?
Okay, so listen, here's my thing. If my kid is in the house with you, number one, if you married to their mama, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna respect you as her husband. Okay?
As a man.
As a man, that's your wife, I respect that. Okay? That's your wife. That's not your kid. That's my kid.
But this is before you go too far. I don't want you to go too far, right? This is the first thing, right? You keep saying what the relationship between you and my soon-to-be wife is. I'm not even talking about that.
But
hold on, listen. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your kid is in my house. Now it's the small, right? Whatever relationship or whatever that me and you gonna have, because we gotta talk it out, because this kid has to be raised in my house.
But
so I'm trying to get on the same page to figure, how do you want your child raised? Because you lost the right to have her and that child in your house. Right. Because now the child is in. Now
who said I lost the right?
You
did lose the right.
You lost the right. The court. You paying child support to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now your money is in my pocket too.
Listen, but listen. No, hold on. Listen. Because see, you don't pay child support, so let me correct you.
What?
That could be by choice.
But regardless,
that could be by choice.
But the thing, I'm passionate about this.
Me too.
I see both y'all. But the thing is that because your child is prime example. When your child go to school, do you want to talk to the teacher that's over that child every single day, watching that child, making sure that child is safe, protected, all that kind of stuff? Yes. So the same thing. That child is in my house. So you want to know what's my No, it's not.
I'm gonna tell you. Listen, no. Let me tell you why it's different. It's different because. Yeah, you in the child is not on your protection. It's a mama job too.
Hold on. So
right now, it's a mama job too.
Okay, how many girls you got?
3.
So all 3 of your girls live with me, right?
Okay.
Burglar breaks into the house.
Okay.
I don't know what he's trying to do. Maybe trying to get the girls or whatever. Whose job is it to protect those babies?
It's yours.
Why?
Because you're supposed to be the man of the house.
Okay, but now I'm protecting your kids. Why you ain't there to protect them?
Okay,
why you ain't stopping?
Because hold on, listen.
Because you can't.
Listen. I don't live there. However, I'm just a phone call away. You better believe that.
But you can't. Come on. In that scenario, ain't no call.
Listen. That's the scenario you gave.
Yeah.
So let me give you another one. This is the point I'm trying to make to you. Okay, some relationships. We can't just sit here and assume that, okay, the reason why I gotta take care of your son is because you some deadbeat dad that don't want to do it. No,
I never said that.
No, I know. I'm not saying. I'm saying we gotta make it. We gotta put this out there. Okay, so basically, it could be a relationship that she might have cheated and then tell you that she cheated on him.
I don't care about.
No. Listen, you don't care, but you want this man to come talk to you. Hold up, listen. You want this man to come talk to you, yet still
not about her though.
No, listen. Just listen. You want this man to come talk to you, yet still, because some women, I'm gonna look at the camera and say this, some women, when they find somebody new, they telling you all the good things. That's about, so the first thing you think, okay, this dude over here, man, he gonna take care of his kid. You seeing the dude ain't there. The father, no, just listen. I need you to be man enough to remember this. Okay, because we all don't did it. I know I have.
Well, no, because the only reason I keep cutting you off is because you keep saying what she telling me. I'm telling you, I'm not listening to her.
No,
I'm trying to figure out you as a man.
You might not be listening to it, but there are some that do. So when the man approached them, the first thing you think of is everything she don't say to you. Now you got your chest stuck out and you got a different attitude. Every man is not gonna step to that, bro. I'm telling you, I'm different not.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
So in what he's saying, this is basically going back to the question of who should approach who, right? So from your perspective and from your experience, women go into new relationships, bashing the old ones, creating this image of their previous partner, and so the new partner already on 10 when the old partner come around. Which creates confusion, confrontation, and a whole bad situation going forward. So then the parenting is all messed up.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, so if the roles were reversed, like if me and my wife was divorced, right? And then my son was staying with Orlando, right? I would come to him and initially I'm gonna come and just talk to him, right? There's no animosity or whatever, right? I just need to know what kind of, how is he gonna be handling my son, right?
Going forward.
Right, because my son is living in this man's house every single day. So why, as his father, I want to know what kind of man he is, right? I don't want to necessarily go by what I don't.
Can't change that.
I know I can't change it, but I still want to know.
You can be aware.
So it's about awareness, like you said.
Some
awareness.
men aren't going to take word of mouth.
Right.
Some men are going to do their due diligence and meet with you. And so, me personally, right? My baby mama got married, right? And we're cool.
Too.
Like, we've always been cool, no problem, no issues, co-parenting, all that stuff, right? So when she told me she got married, cool. Our son is older, so he's already out the house, he's grown, but still as a man, you like, this the man that's gonna be around my son. So in the back of your mind, you always gonna be concerned because you like, I know what kind of man I am. I know what kind of person his mom is. So I hope this dude fall in line somewhere in the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So when you finally meet, it's like, okay, he cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And when we met, it wasn't no chess out. We wasn't beating no chess. Nobody ain't trying to play King Kong, this my castle. You know, none of that.
Right.
And it's crazy because we had passed by each other a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? He probably knew who I was. You know, I didn't know who he was. In my mind, I'm like, this dude, I ain't never seen him around, so he might be XYZ. We both waited for the moment when she said, hey, this is, and hey, this is
exactly
what's going on.
And that's the way it should go. And that's what I wanted to say too, guys.
Adulting.
It's like, it's adulting. It really is. And the reason I want to say this is because I'm possibly going to be in this situation in the future, right?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So my kids could be in somebody else's house.
Dog.
No, it's all good. But what the point I wanted to make, because both of y'all are passionate about it, and I understand why.
Right.
But and I definitely understand where Rico's at. You know, wanting that man to come talk to me because he needs to be concerned. If any man will be concerned of where their kid is and what type of man or influence is, you know, they.
Right.
You know the mom, but you don't know that man, right? So yeah. So I
What
get
would
it.
you do?
I get it. So for me, I would have a conversation. I would definitely have a conversation, but it also goes down to the relationship you have with your kids. If you got a relationship with your kids and you're in tune to your kids and you're hands-on, it's going to be automatic because your kids are going to talk to you and they're going to say, Daddy, you know, he yells a lot. So now it's like when I have that conversation, I can have some, you know, not saying that whatever the child tells me is right, but at least I would know how to probe that conversation, right? And then when you have that relationship with your child, it makes it easier, right? It makes it easier to connect with the mom, the ex, and the new boyfriend, dad, or stepdad, or whatever. But it's important. It's important to have that relationship because the conversation is going to have to be had.
So let's talk about boundaries, right? And I hear you know, you made a comment about the kid being in your house. You know, you asked the question about how you want your kid raised, right? How can that honestly be allowed, right? Or as a man in your own house, providing for these kids, right? Your own kids, and then, you know, this additional kid, right? How can you say to another man with the kid in your house, how do you want your kid raised?
Right.
Is that feasible?
Right.
Like, can you honestly parent this kid one way and then parent the other kids your way?
Right.
Like, is that possible? And this goes in line with boundaries, right? Isn't that kind of like as a parent, like breaking a boundary, like, because like you said, you done lost the right for the kid to be in your house, and you parent them.
Let's give an example of a boundary.
Okay.
Then I'm asking.
Okay, I'll give you one. I'll give you one. Spanking the kid.
Right. So if you initially, me and you had a conversation, right, and you was just been say, hey, spanking is not what we like. I don't condone that, right? So then
the kid's in my house. The kid is in my house, or
whatever.
His kid in your house.
Your kid is in my house.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay,
And I don't, condone spanking or whatever, right? So we have to come to some kind of mutual agreement of how we're going to discipline that kid when it happens, right?
Right.
When something happens that potentially you would normally spank them with or whatever, right? So I know that's the one big one. There's a bunch of people back and forth like spanking or no spanking, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things we can talk about, right? But that can be something that can be hashed out potentially, right? How we want to handle this, right?
Right.
But it's gonna take a conversation, right?
That was one of the things. That was one of the things that we bumped heads on. Her ex. It was, this is a girl, right? It's her daughter. So I never spanked her. I never had to spank.
So that right there, I would say if it's easy with a girl, right? Yeah. So I would say I'm gonna leave that to my wife.
Yeah. But there was a time where I had mentioned that I was spanking Monty, and then it just had this whole uproar, right? To the point where when the dad heard that, then him and his dad were threatening to come over to my house, and even though it didn't get that far, but I'm like, y'all don't want to do that, And that was just me mentioning that I would spank her if I needed to.
Yeah.
It became a big deal. So some people will have an issue with that, but you do lose that right.
Right. But at the end, like you say, but in that scenario, right, the mom, right, like your ex, if spanking is needed, she would be the one delivering the spanking.
Yeah.
So
to eliminate all that where you want to come and fight or something like that.
Yeah. Discipline in blended families. The biological parent should take the lead. It's hard for the step parent to be the enforcer when relationships still grow.
Even though all y'all grew up, and we were talking about on another show, the switches and getting spanked in school, right? So it's the same thing. So your kid in school acting up, bring out the paddle, right? You ain't going up there a complete uproar and all this kind of stuff because it's an adult figure that's watching and protecting your kids, right? So I know you got paddle.
So let me ask this.
No, you got paddle.
What the hell just said? So yeah, you keep coming from me. I'm gonna let you have that one. I'm gonna let you have that. That's one. That's one. But no, on the serious tip though, man, for real. So even with let's use the discipline. Okay. You don't want somebody to discipline your kid. Yet and still, the kid is in my house. I gotta take care of the kid. So you want me to do all of this and not get no respect from the kid?
Well, when you say discipline, I never said not to discipline them. Yeah. He talked about ways to discipline.
Okay, so what are some ways that you feel like they should discipline the kid? Because here's my thing. Suppose the mama basically just let the kid run over them. Okay. You expect for the mama to beat the kid and the kid being disrespectful. Something that's basically out of hand and you feel like the kid should be spanked for her, but she looking over it. Like, how do you handle that?
So a lot of times kids, depend on the age, right? Spanking might not work if they're older. You start eliminating stuff. Yeah. You cell phone, unless you got a job. You know what I'm saying? No game, you take all that stuff.
That don't work.
Yes, it do. Well, they can't communicate with nobody. You can't use, you ain't gonna have no devices.
How many times you gotta take away the device?
What you mean, how many times you gotta take away?
If they
don't have no job to go buy no phone, how they gonna get a phone?
Thank you. Because this is why I look at it. Some kids get immune to that. Okay? If I go act up in school, the only thing she's gonna do is take my phone. Okay, take the phone 4 or 5 times. At what point
you don't give it back,
you keep
man?
Doing the same thing. You gonna give it right back?
Don't give it
the same
back.
thing.
Don't give it back.
You have to switch it up. Like you have to change up. Yeah. So if you take the phone and say you act up, I take your phone for a day or 2, right? And you go act up again, and you think, oh, Pops is mom gonna take the phone for a day or 2. Then you take it for a week or 2.
Yep.
Then you take it for a month.
Yep.
Oh, you act up again? Oh, okay. Then we're gonna take it and then we're gonna give it back when we get ready.
Here's my thing. Okay, because the thing about it is, whether you take away for 2 days, a week, a month, they still not. It's still immune. Okay,
but
listen. My thing is, okay. Say the first time you take away the phone, okay. You already know when you act up. The first thing you think, okay, she's just gonna take my phone. When you say switch it up completely. Okay. Last time I took your phone. Okay, this time I'm dropping you off at some shelter so you can clean the floor with toothbrushes. You gotta switch it up.
Well, switch it up, man. But you getting extreme now.
No.
I mean, you trying to teach a lesson.
You trying to teach a lesson?
Yeah, I mean, we switch it up. I mean, because there's levels. Like they say, there's levels to the discipline, but you gradually step into it or whatever, right? But the thing is that child will be disciplined in some way, and if you're a person saying I don't want my child physically hit, then you start working on these different ways. That's why you go to the phone, right? A week, 2 weeks. Okay, that ain't working. I'm just not gonna give you the phone back. Okay, now I'm gonna take your laptop. Now I'm gonna take your now you're gonna be down. If my son is all into these shoes, you got 1 pair of Bobos. You got a pair of Bobos.
Take them all.
That you gonna wear to school. Them other ones, I don't even care. I throw them in the fireplace.
But see, I'll give you a prime example. One time my daughter did something. Okay, the first time she did it, what I did, okay, you did something, I'm gonna take your phone because you did something. Okay, next time she did it, you know what I did? The first I know you out there, okay, next thing Daddy gonna do is take my phone. No, that's not what I did. Okay, one thing, I'm gonna think outside the box. Okay, one thing you're not used to is exercise. So you know what I'm gonna do? Go outside, run up and down the hill 30 times.
I mean,
listen.
Bro,
listen,
it was protected
no. Listen, it was crazy, but guess what?
Get it down.
But exactly. Yeah. You hated it because you know why? Because
I didn't say that.
But she hated it because she wasn't used to that.
Yeah. But see, let's get back on the point though. The point is that so like in the scenario, like okay, so you talking about all these different punishments. So that's something that you and I would have worked out as a punishment for your child because you don't want me to spank her, right? So now I'm taking stuff from her. I'm making her run or do whatever. So me and you is on the same page about how this child is being disciplined, right? Yeah. Okay. No matter what it is. That's what I'm saying, right? Okay. So if we've already talked, then we know that, hey, I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna hit your daughter, right? You know what I'm saying? Your ex-wife is not gonna hit your daughter because you don't like that, right? So these are the other things, right? And as it progresses, we got to keep continuing figuring out things to make her, you know what I'm saying, get into the right spot, right?
Okay, so let me just throw this out there, right? So, all right, he's influencing the household. He's saying, all right, I don't want my kid spanked, right? So you're not spanking this kid, but when your kid does something, are they getting spanked too?
Right.
Or they getting the same treatment that this kid get? Because I mean, just honestly, like for me, as if I'm gonna say step parent, but I'm gonna take the step out of it because I'm a parent. That's I only know one way, right? And I'm not gonna treat you any different than I'm gonna treat my own kid, which includes if they get their tail toe up, you finna get your tail toe up too. You know what I'm saying? Right. And for me, no man is gonna influence that outside. You're not gonna come to me as a man and tell me what's gonna go on in my house. Right. And that's just me as a man. Right. Now we can have a conversation and I'm gonna let you know that, hey, I'm not gonna mistreat your child. I'm not gonna treat her no different, her or him no different than what I'm gonna treat my own, right? But you're not gonna influence my household.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, just being honest, like I believe in spanking, but it gotta be like the last resort. It gotta be.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, within reason.
I don't like beat my son. No, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't like doing it, right? So it's like the absolute last resort.
Yep. Well, see, and the thing about it is, I'll give you another example. I'm saying I've been in a situation where basically I was in a relationship and the female had kids, and I got into a little issue with the kid. Okay.
How old was the kid? How old was the kid?
She was teenage.
Ooh.
Okay. See? So me having teenage daughters, I was to the mom like, listen, okay, I think you need to have a conversation with her, let her know, saying that I don't like that. Yeah. So she was like, well, basically.
Or she need to respect the
adults. Yeah, I'm saying, so you need to respect my house. So she was like, well, I just feel like, you need to talk to her because, you have girls. I said, listen, it's a difference between the way I handle my girls and the way you handle yours. Because had that been my kid that did that, oh no, it'd have been over. But me respecting your kid, then you need to have a conversation with her because if you want me to address that how I would address my kid, you ain't gonna like that.
And what did she say?
She was like, well, I have a conversation with her because, maybe it's the way you say, no, you need to basically, that's why I said when it comes to, I'm saying, it depends on the relationship you had with the mother or the father, whatever, when it comes to this co-parenting, new co-parent with the step. Because, I respect you, what you're saying is the man should go say, listen, okay, little bro, you just married my ex-wife, you taking care of my daughter, I'm her dad, this, that, and the third. Okay, when I got to that point, basically, I didn't even have that conversation. Okay, number one, I always get my daughter, so you see I'm active in her life. Okay, you wasn't a man. Basically, when I come, number one, half the time you weren't even around, and half the time when you was around, you looked at me funny and walked off. So I'm not gonna approach you and say, hey, bro, you taking care of my daughter, this, that, and the third, not knowing what's in your head. Because the slightest little thing that would have came out and you came up with something stupid, then my mindset would have went elsewhere. And then it wouldn't have been about you taking care of my daughter, it would have been like you could get out the bottom of my foot. Simple. So to exclude all of that, I'm saying, me, I'm the type of person like this right here. If you come to me and say, hey bro, I just married your wife, I just wanted to meet you. That's different to me because I know how I am. I am that type of dude that's gonna go to you and say, hey man, you got my daughter in your house, I'm trying to see what kind of dude you are. And then you look me up and down, bro, my mindset go elsewhere. So to eliminate that, that's why I do it the way I do it, which is more peaceful for me. Not saying you're wrong for the way you do it, but I'm saying, because I look at it like this right here. If my daughter is in your house and something go wrong, number one, the first thing I'm looking at is the mama, because she put you in that situation. Number one, I'm going to the mama, okay? And I'm gonna address it with the mama. Listen, okay, my daughter came to me and said this, so you need to address that with him before I go to him. Because like I said, some dudes are not like y'all.
But
open like that. Some dudes basically, man, I don't have to tell you. I'm saying, well, bro, hey, she in my house, you don't like it, put it in yours.
Yeah.
Then that's a whole different discussion.
Because I mean, only thing about it is that, like, you know, some people it may be different, right? But you know, for the most part, the men are the head of the household, right?
Right.
And then once that lady is married, right, you know what I'm saying, some men not gonna like you just coming and saying anything to their wife like that at that point, right?
This is true. So
a lot of
creates
stuff
a whole nother situation.
Yeah, a whole nother situation.
Right, that's
is
my
like,
point.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it kind of mean if I'm open, right, you gotta test the waters, right? Because again, your kids are in my house.
Okay.
Right? You know, so it's technically my house, my rules, right? So we can keep everything calm and, you know what I'm saying, level, nobody going crazy. Just have a conversation.
Okay, so here's my question. You keep saying your kids are in my house, but who put them there? You didn't. The mama put him there.
Well, no, I mean, you might. I don't know what you did. I'm not. We don't know what. We don't know the scenario. We don't know if she cheated, you cheated. We don't know what. We don't know what's going on. But
does that not matter?
But at the end of the day,
I don't think it does.
But at the end of the day,
It doesn't
Because
matter.
it doesn't.
No, okay, no. So listen.
That's like left and right. Like one has nothing to do with the other.
What I'm saying is, I'm only saying it matters the fact of who cheated. What I'm saying is, it shouldn't matter to you the type of relationship because people gonna paint the picture of the last person how they want to.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to me, it would only matter if the person that she cheated with was the person that she was now moving your kid into the household with. If it
has happened.
If it would even matter at all, that would possibly be.
That has happened.
But is it just me? So we can keep going back and forth. me as a man, if I'm divorced today, right, and my wife marries AC, right, I'm gonna go talk to AC. I'm gonna go try to approach him in the most respectful way because now my son is with him. Maybe I only get my son one weekend out the month or something like that. So now my son is with him all the time. I want to figure out as much as I can about this dude because he is gonna have influence over my son a lot more than I have because I'm not there every day. That's what I'm trying to say. So I want to see what kind of man he is, right? And you as a father or as a mother, you should want to know that. You want to know who's because now I'm raising your daughters, right? And and regardless if you in their life, you see them basically every now and then because I see them every day. I'm gonna eventually have more influence over them, regardless of what you can keep trying, but I'm in their face every day, every single day. So you want to know, you definitely want to know what my mindset is.
All right, so let's look at this. So marriages don't always last, right?
Right.
AC, you know that firsthand, right?
Yep.
So how does a relationship continue if the marriage doesn't? Does it continue?
With the kids?
What relationship?
With the kids, yeah,
With the
between
kids?
the step parent and the step kid, right? Because perfect example, like she was like young, 3, 4,
When we
something
got
like
married?
that. Yeah, when
yeah.
y'all got married, and then she's what, 18,
She's
19,
she's
20?
19 now, yeah.
And
grown.
now, you know, it's like non-existent.
There's no relationship.
Right, no relationship. But how do you do how do you do that? Because you've basically been there.
So it goes like Rico's saying, that influence. So because the mother has that influence on her child, so, and you know, I cheated, right? So
I mean, that don't make you.
It hurt the mom,
Right.
So the daughter took on that same pain too, right?
Right.
So because she took on that pain, she chose to stick with mom. Well, you hurt my mom, you hurt me too. But now the question is, should that be?
Right.
I think it can be either way, right? Depending on, because y'all could have just grew apart and it's like, hey, you know, we just not working or whatever. But you have been with that kid for so long
That's a long time.
developed a relationship. I can see, like, let's say for instance, if it was a son or something, and y'all was always going to football games together, going to whatever, right? And even right before the divorce, y'all was still hanging out, playing, hooping together and stuff like that. It made me feel, hey man, you know, I mean, I know you're not with my mom no more.
Right.
But shoot, we still gonna hang,
And
right?
that's the way it should
You know what I'm
be.
saying? As long as it's not nothing that's
Right.
like you hurt her or something, you know what I'm saying, did something crazy like that physically.
Right. And that's the power of influence too, man. So it's like, you know, us as adults and us as parents, you know, we need to protect our kids' feelings and emotions as much as possible. You know, so the right thing to do, all marriages don't last, and it just happens.
Yeah, because your relationship with the kids is actually truly completely separate from your wife.
Exactly.
That's a relationship in
itself. And that's what we have to instill, and we have to encourage that in the child. Like, you always respect your elders. You always respect your.
Yeah.
So daddy did this to me, or daddy did this that made us, go this way. But that doesn't take away the fact that he raised you. He was there from you from start to finish. He loved you unconditionally. Mm-hmm. So you have to instill that in your child. And if you don't do that, to me, that'll come back and bite you.
So how do you handle that?
I mean, you have to respect it. You have to respect it.
So is it a situation where you, I don't know, reach out to the kid like, hey, I know me and your mom, XYZ, but that don't have nothing to do with me and you. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? Because that's a long time that you was present, you was active, you
money,
provided,
sweat, blood, tears, all that.
Yeah, I mean, to just ball it up and throw it away just because y'all didn't, you know what I'm saying? Right. And I say that because, even with my parents, like my parents divorced, right? And my mom, she never talked bad about my dad, even though he was, complete trash to her. She always encouraged us to be, in communication with him, don't, break your relationship. But in the end, it was him that broke our relationship. So in her mind, she still think that we're like, but it's like until we said, no, this is what happened, that she realized like, okay, well, that's still your dad, But it's like, and I know that's, not step-parent, but it goes in with they kind of go hand in hand because that relationship can survive or it can die.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I truly feel like when you put in that work, like you said, it's a long time. When you put in that work, that child will come back. And it's up to me to make sure I give her an outlet to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Daddy was wrong, which I did that, but let her know that I will always be there for her if she needs me, So I've done that, but now it's up to that child. And I truly feel like once you put in that work, the relationship is still there. Yeah. It's just a bitterness, and and that happens.
It's raw.
That happens. Yeah, it's still fresh and everything like that. But if you put in the work, that's what I'm saying. Relationship is everything. Blood. I think relationship is way bigger than blood. It's about that relationship, and once you instill that relationship, that relationship will always be there, no matter the hurt, the pain. It just takes time. It really does take time.
So let me ask you a question. So. Your son in the house with AC, okay, but you active. Even though ACC your son more than you do, you still active, okay? So the fact of the matter that you're active doesn't basically make him take your place. You're still active, okay? So what happens when the kid gets to the point where they feel like, okay, I only see my dad every now and then. Okay, but I'm around you all the time, so, okay, you more of my dad than he is because not knowing the whole situation why it's that, okay, is it your job as the step parent to say, listen, okay, I thank you for that respect or whatever, but your dad does a lot. Your dad does this, your dad is active. So, I thank you for the respect, but you also owe him that respect. Because some kid, and I talk from experience, okay, I wasn't there for my daughter every day because the stepdad was in the house, but I was active. Everything that you had that was possible, I made it possible, okay? But it got to some points where when the attitude started flaring up or whatever, the first thing you say, well, you know what, my stepdad, then hold up. Don't never, ever compare me to your stepdad. We on two different levels, okay? He would never fill my shoes. He would never be on my level, okay? Yeah, he stepped in only because he married your mama, okay? I've been there since you popped out the womb, okay? So you can never put me on that level. So is it the step parent's job to say, you know what, I understand how you feel, but hey, no, your dad, respect that.
That's why I think it's important to have that conversation and build that relationship with the, the
step parent or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the step parent's job is to not talk bad about the real parent, right? And And it's your job as the parent is to basically, when you have time with that child, to instill in them that you're still there, that you doing whatever as much as you can for them, right? Yeah. So I think that part is your job, right? And they're gonna know who's doing what, if it makes sense, especially as they get older, right? As they get older, right? Let's say, for example, the step parent's not talking bad about the parent, right? And as that child gets older, it's gonna recognize, he or she is gonna recognize what's going on. They're gonna know that you're there or you're not there. They're gonna recognize that, if she has some kind of dance recital, she gonna be able to look out there in the audience and see who's showing up, right? Yeah. Because it might not be your weekend, but if she's told you that she has this recital or she playing an instrument or something like that, stepdaddy, he out there in the audience with some flowers. Well, daddy, I told daddy, I know he ain't working.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, you'll be doing that to the child on your own. Has nothing to do with the stepfather.
That's right. So let me pose this question.
Good point.
Should the adults, parents, should they create a united front where they're all working together in harmony and showing this kid there's not going to be any out. Like you can't get away with anything with anybody. Yeah,
I can see that. In a recent situation happened with us, right? So I'm a step parent, right? Christian, right? So when he actually graduated from the Marines, right? He graduated from boot camp and everything. So we actually all ended up going down there, and we met up and had a good time eating together and all this kind of stuff. And then when we came back to Atlanta, his dad threw a party for him at his house, right? And invited us, right? We ended up being over there and had a good time. We was all out there barbecuing, playing games, doing kind of stuff or whatever. And then, ironically, they came back. So now Christian is done. That's the graduate. That's the party and everything like that. And he's off. And then he reached out to us and said, "Hey man, y'all want to come and play spades?" So like now he has actually invited me back. Me and my wife, his ex-wife, back to the house with his new wife and everything, or fiance or whatever, to hang out and play games and everything. And for me, man, I'm cool. I ain't never had no beef with him. He never came to me and talked to me like I was talking about or whatever, but he never came at me crazy or anything like that. I would never do anything like that or whatever. And we 100% cordial.
Maybe that was just silent respect. Maybe he just looked at you as a man and felt like, all right, boom, one man to another.
Yeah, and
it ain't got to be spoken. It ain't got to be said.
And the thing is, people be so into like, my kid's over here. He may do him wrong. All this negative stuff, right? It don't even necessarily be about that, right? Man, we all grown. You know what I'm saying? We all mess up. If you mess up, you just gotta own up to it. Hey, I lost this person or whatever. That's right. Let's move on, right? We got these kids that we gotta raise. They gotta be grown people later on.
One day,
and we showing them by us being together and doing it. They say, man, if this happens to, so now Christian, if this happens to me, man, I know I can, co-parent. That's right. I can do stuff, and it ain't got to be all this back and forth and bickering and all this kind of stuff. You don't got to do all that. Yeah.
Because it's weird, right? It feels kind of weird for it just to be like harmony instead of like back and forth.
So it was weird. It's like, okay, we over here or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? We out there, and then me and him was out there back on he was grilling and stuff. So we talking and stuff like that. And we out there, and I'm like, man, all right, it's kind of weird at first, but all right, he ain't too bad. You know what I'm saying? He cool or whatever. And then we start, little adult beverages, and we talking and stuff like that. And when you introduce that in there, you can see if stuff can go sideways.
It's gonna go left.
And it was like, he actually kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? His lost my game. I'm happy from that perspective, right?
But not only that,
that's all cool.
Maybe it's the fact of the matter of, he's seen the fact that you did something for his kid that he couldn't do at that moment, so he respect that.
Yeah.
And maybe, like you said, his loss of your game, maybe he realized it, and maybe he said, you know what? I want the best for my kid.
Yeah. And everybody where they supposed to be.
Right.
And ultimately, it takes a village to raise kids anyway, so
this is true. This is what they always say.
Yep.
All right, we're going to jump into our Ask Bro Code segment. I ain't going to pick.
Well, that was a good one right here so far.
We probably could do a part two on this. I think we got to because I see a little passion. Your ears on fire, man. Golly. I'm going to let you pick one out since you don't. Let me calm you down a little bit, man. My butt was tight over here. What we got? They got a name on it?
Okay, so what is the most attractive and important thing to you when it comes to dating someone?
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I would say the most attractive thing to me is personality. You know, I'm big on energy. You know, so if a person has that energy and outgoing personality and you talk and it's to me the personality is the most attractive thing.
Yeah. I would definitely say that the vibe, personality, conversation. Does it flow? Is it like pulling teeth?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When we communicating with each other and interacting with each other, and then when we meet up, how does it go?
Right.
How's the vibe?
Yeah.
Is it like off? Is it like, oh, I've known this person for like 30 years, but I ain't known them for 5. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
That's always big. Yep. That's always big.
I
So we know you married, but when you first met Stacey,
Well, I'm 100% agree with y'all because what's our proper word?
Adult activity.
Adult activities. Okay, well, you get 20, 30 minutes. And then you know what I'm saying? So now I gotta sit here and look at you. So I better be able to talk to you, communicate, personality. I can laugh with you.
Right.
We can go hang out, do some other stuff because it's way more.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they say 7 minutes is like the. But go ahead.
The first word?
7.
Why you said 7
minutes?
That's his time,
7
man.
minutes is that's
his
what it is.
That's his time, man.
So I think mine would be the fact that you have to have a sense of humor. Okay, you know what I'm saying? You can't be so uptight and all of that, man. And you got to be open to be able to communicate and answer questions and ask questions.
You said that one out
because
loud.
basically, I feel like the best way to get to know somebody is to ask questions and see how they respond to them.
True.
Yeah, so that definitely be an open book.
But don't interview them though, because make them feel like.
I wouldn't say interview, but you got to be able to hold a conversation,
right,
and be able to talk about interesting
questions
things. Right. We got time for one more.
What are your short-term goals?
Yeah.
What are your long-term
goals? But those questions getting old. We got to find some new ones. Short-term, long-term goals. Everybody gonna feel like they got some short-term, long-term goals.
Fresh year on.
Right.
That came from a female too. Rico 7 minutes. If it ain't going, if after 7 minutes, hey, I'm just saying. Who we got? What we got?
We didn't say this before. This is from Kiana Smith. At what point should you introduce your kids to someone you're dating? Is it after dating for a length of time, or should we introduce early to determine if long-term would work based on the vibe between your kid and the potential mate?
So for me,
that's a good, interesting question. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
For me, it has to be a situation where y'all are fit to walk down the aisle. This back and forth,
we dating, no.
Because
weather change every day.
Hold on, just to meet them?
Yeah. For what? Yeah. What you need to meet them for? You know she got kids. What you need to meet them for? If you're not finna be and this is my perspective, right? If you're not going to be in their life in a permanent capacity, why do you need to meet them? I was a kid, right? My uncle always brought a woman home. Different woman every time he came home, right? So we got, I guess he was in the dry, I'm gonna call it a dry period because he had this one that he would just bring home all the time, right? So we got used to her, right?
So he switched it up on you.
So when he switched it up, it's like,
who that?
Right. So as a kid, you don't know no better. You know this person because when you see the car, such and such here, we finna have a good time. And it's like when you walk through the door, you ain't her. Who is you?
Yeah.
So now as a kid, you looking crazy, right? And then they looking at you like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But why I'm in trouble? Why he ain't in trouble?
So I
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see your point, but I'm a respectfully disagree on that too. I feel like when you're dating and it's getting to the point where it's serious now, right? Prior to it getting serious, I don't think the other person should meet the kids.
Right.
But when it gets serious, that means y'all are thinking, okay, I can.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So then you definitely want to bring those kids into the picture. So like Miss Kiana Smith said, like get to know, because it's a package deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're serious with this person, but you don't know how this person is going to gel with your kids, and you want to do that before you say, okay, yeah, we're planning this wedding.
Because like let's say for example, if the kid for whatever like was special needs or something,
right,
that person may not be up for dealing with that extra stuff.
Right.
So they need to know that I got kids, but then this kid needs special things.
Yeah.
Right. Special care. Right. You can't do the same thing what you do with other kids. Right. You gotta watch them all the time like that. So that person needs to know, hey, what they signing up for all the way. Right. You know what I mean? Because you gotta think about, if you wait till you about to get married, you wait all the way to that point.
Right.
And then now you pop up with this, and you say, "Oh, here they go."
Yeah.
Then you like,
I would say within the first at least 6 months.
Meeting the kid?
Meeting the kid.
I think it depends on
I'm
how the relationship is going. If it's not serious.
But no, if you dating somebody for that long, then it has potential to be serious. So the reason why I said 6 months is because basically, okay, now, you know what I'm saying, you number one, you already know I come as a package because I told you that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Okay, you know I come as a package, so you don't have to see that. But what I want to see is, okay, I may bring you on this kid, suppose what happened to me while we together, okay? And my kid need attention. I need to know you that person that's gonna make sure while I'm sick or while I'm down, my kid is still taken care of. I need to see how my kid vibes with you. I need to see how you act around kids. I need to see all of that transition, that whole chemistry with you and my kid. Because I went through that. So basically, when I first dated, I'm saying the female, the kid was like standoffish, like he didn't want to talk, he didn't want to do nothing. So she was like, I said, okay, you tried it your way, let me try it. I said, okay, so I had a conversation with the kid. I said, okay, seems to me like, you want your mom not to date nobody, okay? So can you tell me what the problem is? He was like, well, I feel like you take up too much of my mom's time. I said, okay, I can understand that. Before she met me, it was just you and her. So you had all her time. Okay, and now I done came in and then I'm interrupting the time. And you as a young boy attached to his mama, I can see that. Okay, so my question to you is, okay, so tell me, how can we both be happy? Okay, tell me, what can I do to make you happy and then your mom be happy? He's like, well, that's okay. It's what? I'm gonna say 3. It's 3 days in a weekend if you count Friday. Okay, so let's say I take Saturday, you have Friday. Can we do it like that? Okay, sure. Okay, so I tell you what. On Fridays, I won't call her, I won't bother her. That's y'all time. But then on Saturday, you allow me to take her out and do different things, and we be good. He said, I like that. And the problem was resolved. But that wouldn't have happened if I'd have waited way down the line to meet the kid.
Well, I mean, like you said, when you getting serious, not literally, but I'm gonna say this. I dated a chick and I waited almost 18 months before I met her daughter. Miss Kiana Smith, thank you for that question. That's our show. We appreciate you tuning in for another epic episode of Bro Code. Check us out. Social media, YouTube, Facebook, IG.
Yes.
Till next time, Bro Code family. Peace.